Hello, this is Bob Hollis with the Mobius Network, and today I'm going to show you how to use front page modules to customize the look of your home page rather than using the Joomla featured article option, which is currently being used on this site. So the Joomla featured article option allows you to put parts of your articles, any content that you create, on the front page. So the idea is that you have your full article in a standard page position, and then if you choose featured, it's going to put that article on the front page, and then you can insert a read more link that then cuts that article off and just gives you the first page or two, an intro lead, so that when you click you see the full thing. Now the problem with that is if you want a nice graphic up at the top of your article, or anything else that might not look right up here, you're limited to what you can do in your article. Otherwise, you might have one huge graphic just filling in this whole space or not fitting at all. And either way, it has very limited options for controlling the front page look and layout. So what we're going to do is use an option of a custom HTML module, and we'll replace each of these with a custom HTML module that allows us to create the article and lay it out any way we want to, and then do the same thing for each of our front page entries without being locked into whatever we did in the article itself. To start with, you'll see I'm not logged in here, and therefore I'm seeing what the public sees. I've set this up for our demonstration purposes and under the access level special, which means only admins and above can see any of what we're about to show here. So once I'm logged in, then we're going to see some modules pop up here in the bottom. And you'll see several things that just kind of jump in here that don't normally show to the public. That's Community Builder workflows for approving items. This was an experimental module showing some new Cork board members and news and updates too. But you can disregard all of this. I just want to point that out because it affects what we're going to look at, and it will impact the way it looks when we're done. So, and I will also point out that this video is here for future reference, and along with other admin tutorial videos, and this list will be growing. So these are our custom HTML modules, and as I mentioned, there's currently set to special, and there's a reason this one is a little shorter than these two. I left it that way for this demonstration purpose so that I can show you how to manually fix that. So our articles were here. This is the content that shows from the featured article. And so what you would do if you wanted to replace these articles is use this custom HTML module that's in position 1, bottom 1, another in bottom 2, another in position bottom 3. And this is all content that I'll show you in the back. We could just basically paste in and move around and do whatever we want with it. And we're controlling it by using tables. So that's how you can control how your text sits within the custom HTML module and the height of your module to make your site look consistent. So for example, in these two modules, this content is in a table and the height of the table is set for 220. This one, there's no height set on the table, or at least it's not 220. And I'll show you how to change that when we go into the back. So that's how it would appear on the front end. And if you can imagine these not being here, these featured articles, and then also several of these modules that show only for administrators not being here, what would happen is all of these modules will move all the way up the page, and you can sit them right underneath your photo. So it gives you much more space for each article, and it's all one compact package for people that don't have very tall screens. So that's how it looks on the front end. So now let's go into the back end and talk about how we make this happen. So I just have a link here where I came in, the address /administrator, logged in, and the first thing you see is your control panel. So with this control panel, you can pretty much see what's here. All of that is replicated in the menus, and the menus include a lot more. So I tend to use the menus by habit because they are always there for you. But the quick shortcut for where we're going is Module Manager. You can click here on the icon or go up to Extensions and Module Manager. Now that we're in Module Manager, there's also a whole lot to wade through if you were looking for the what we were just talking about. So to show you briefly how that's organized, you can sort by title, and that can be useful at times. Other times it doesn't really help much because you don't even know the title that was given to the module. In this case, it's bottom 1, bottom 2, and bottom 3. I did that for simplicity's sake. But in most cases, the easiest way to find these would be to go to select a position. Use any of these filters. You'll see that they're very useful. Go to select a position. We know we're looking for a module in position bottom 1. So that's all I'm going to show. And there it is. So you can see that the type is a custom HTML module. On selected pages only, current access level is special. That's why it didn't show until I logged in. And if I want to edit it, I go into the module itself. And you'll see that we've got a nice WYSIWYG editor. It works just like any other editor that you've probably used for editing text or anything else. I've got a table in here that's not showing any borders, so it doesn't appear to be a table, and some text. So you can do anything in here that you would do with anything else. Type, insert use here to insert a photo. I mentioned in the DocMan tutorial that you can use DocLink to link to a document that you might have stored in DocMan. And in this case, I just pulled up the bottom 1 so that I can demonstrate how now if I go to Table Properties, right-click Table Properties, and I can go in here and manually set that height to 220 instead of it just adjusting to whatever content's in there. And now if I update it and go up, and you can save to take a look at how it's going to look out front before you save and close, which takes you out of this particular depth and back to a higher level in the control panel. But I can go back out here and do a refresh, and let's see, I'm just going to go up here and hit home page again. And you can see that now each of these is precisely the same height. So using tables inside the back end is how you can control your height, your spacing, anything that you want to do in here. You're really not limited. And you can see this graphic. This graphic is just in the Media Manager. So if you were to go back into the article and you wanted to insert a graphic, all I would do in this case is insert the graphic, and it's going to show my whole inventory from my Media Manager folder. And that's why you want to keep these organized. As you can see, there's a lot that we could get lost in here. And if I've got something small, let's see, here's a Twitter image, for example. So that's a pretty tiny image. I don't want to put too much in there, but if I were to insert that, by the way, you can see numerous settings up here. I won't get into all of those right now. They're pretty self-explanatory, but there we are. And if we wanted to then link that to something, we could highlight it and either click Edit, Insert Edit Link there, or right-click and Insert Edit Link. And again, I won't get into too much detail, just so you know it's here. You can then select from anything that's already in your menu to choose to link that to a menu item, or you can use an external URL by just typing it in here. And in that case, if you're ever using an external URL, I would always set this target to open in new window. And that way you're not losing your site visitors when they click away to visit something you've linked to. So I'll remove that for now. And just go ahead and close this. And that's pretty much it. That's the bottom 1. If we were to do a search on the bottom 2, you can see that that module is here. And I could do the same thing. So the idea is to go into your article. So in this case, we would go into these articles, copy the text that we would want to show on the front page into the custom HTML module. So this would go here, this would go here, this would go here, thus eliminating these completely. And then we use the manual read more button and just link that button back to the actual article itself. So again, as I demonstrated here, if we wanted this to go back to an article, I could right-click and do Insert Edit Link, and then it's going to ask me which content, and content includes our articles, and it's going to look at categories. And so you'll see we have one actually called the News and Updates module. So you can go in and look at things that way, or you can go into your menu system and link it to anything that's already there. So say we wanted to link it to the webinar series. That's all you would do. And then insert. And this is actually a worthwhile thing to do, because people who have accessibility challenges often rely on screen readers that will want to see a title and be able to read that title back and let the person know what they're hovering over with their mouse. So its best practices are to always fill in that title and alternative text if you have an option to do that. So that's how that would work, and then we would just go up, save and close. And now, obviously, if I were back out on the home page and refresh and were to click here, that would take me back to that article. So there we are. That's how you use custom HTML modules to make a nicer home page layout. If you have any questions, contact Bob at themobiusnetwork.com.